Alice was sent to live with different aunts and uncles in Texas, but she was a damaged child. Even though the family in Texas was quite familiar with the circumstances she faced, none of them wanted Alice around their children. They barely had patience for their own children. Amid this turmoil, she met Aaron, a country boy from a small town in East Texas. She thought he would be her knight in shining armor. But even Aaron could not save Alice from the demons in her own mind. Aaron did not know the true depth of Alice's fragile mental state. All he knew was that he loved Alice and needed to provide for her. He joined the army, leaving Alice to navigate the treacherous waters of her family alone, unaware of the danger she continuously faced. Alice did not understand the concept of love. She knew she would not survive without Charles being alive, but that was her only real experience with any kind of safe love. The rest of her knowledge was just soul violations. Alice was between homes when Aaron asked for her hand in marriage. Her Aunt Dorothy had just kicked her out of her home. Alice was a disruption, and her family always felt justified when they put her out, even though they knew she would be going back to abuse. It was Aaron who convinced Matilda and Harry to take in their own niece, Alice. Alice and Charles lived with them years before, but Matilda did not like children and despised teenagers even more. In the end, it was Harry who conceded to let Alice live in their home until Aaron made it back from Korea. Alice was not mad at Matilda. She understood her reluctance. Matilda grew up watching her sisters be raped by her father. Her oldest sister even bore her father's children. Her constant fear of children being mistreated made her keep her distance from Charles and Alice. Matilda was even suspicious of the close relationship between the twins. There was no need for suspicion when it came to the siblings. They had both seen far too much, even in their short years, and they never wanted to see those horrible things in each other. There were the other's keepers. Alice found herself living with her aunt and uncle yet again, their home a suffocating prison where she endured constant criticism and thinly veiled contempt. It was during this time that Alice's dissociative identity disorder, a hidden facet of her being, began to emerge, a fractured reflection of her fragmented life. The voices in her head, once whispers in the background, grew louder, more insistent, each one a different aspect of her fractured self, each one vying for control. Alice, lost in a labyrinth of conflicting emotions and fragmented memories, struggled to maintain her sanity, to hold on to the fragile threads of her identity. And as the shadows of her past closed in, she found herself teetering on the brink of a precipice, her future uncertain, her destiny shrouded in darkness. The oppressive weight of her aunt and uncle's gambling addiction bore down on Alice, a suffocating blanket of debt and despair. Every paycheck from her grueling shifts at the Taco Bell seemed to vanish into the insatiable maw of their vice, leaving her with scraps and a gnawing sense of injustice. "Alice, let me hold $60 until I get paid," her Aunt Mattie would say, her voice a saccharine sweet veneer over the desperation in her eyes. "We're in a bit of a bind." Alice, her youthful naivete battling with the growing resentment in her gut, would reluctantly hand over her meager earnings, her dreams of escaping her family fading with each crumpled bill. Her Uncle Harry, once a figure of jovial strength, had become a gaunt shadow, his eyes hollowed by sleepless nights and fueled by a desperate hope for a winning hand. His once playful teasing had taken on a sinister edge, his gaze lingering a little too long, his touch a bit too familiar. "You're growing into a beautiful young woman, Alice," he'd leer, his breath hot against her cheek, sending shivers of revulsion down her spine.